Hello, folks. Welcome to Wednesday Night Beat Chat with me, Nancy, your host. Charlie's already joined us. That was a new intro video, but I don't think the sound was right. I don't think you can
Sounded
really
good to
hear the
me.
sound.
Depends on what you're
But
using. Are you using a computer or something else?
it was Lee did it for me, and it was all attached. The video and the sound came together. So it sounded very garbled to me. But maybe
It sounded it's got the violins and whatever else.
yeah,
Cello.
yeah, it's
It
cello.
depends on what you're using to listen it to. Where mine, I got a speaker system, and if you got a
Oh yeah.
laptop, it's like me. When I was down at Bill's, I took the camera that I'm using right now with me, and got my laptop to use that camera.
Mm-hmm.
Because the camera that was on the laptop is not that good. And then in the meantime, I blanked my camera out and we just used Bill's, and because we were both in the same screenshot. Hey, Joseph.
Yeah. Hi, Joey. Joey bailed me a little bit today. I got a little scared when I was setting things up here, so he helped me out in a quick minute there.
Then there's
So
Tom
anyway,
misbehaving. Oh,
Mike,
it's Mike.
misbehaving Mike, and Tom's on.
No, I guess I got my information wrong there.
Oh, Triton
No.
is.
There's MS behaving, and then there's misbehaving. I guess that's what it is.
Oh, right. And Triton, I don't have his first name in. I don't even have it in.
I don't know. And all that.
Triton, what's your first name? Wayne. Thank you. All right. So I went down to my hives again, up and down Monday, Tuesday, and today, Wednesday. And there was this little, I lost all my 5 frames. So
Yeah.
I know it was, they've been dead since, I think, since before New Year, like Christmas, maybe. I noticed they were dead. But then with everybody flying, I saw all this activity at the front porch, on the front porch of this 5-frame nuke. And if I hadn't known any better, hi Don House, I would have thought that was a live hive. Like I would have thought that was an active hive. But what they're doing is they're going out, and I said the other night on Bill's channel that I don't have robbing in spring. Well, that quick, I was proven wrong.
Yep.
Because what they're doing is, hey Ryan, they're going in that little 5-frame and nooching around. I haven't really tore through the whole thing to see what's in there, but they're going in there being nosy. I don't know if they're getting anything, but they are definitely cruising in and out of that little 5-frame box.
I went in that 10-frame that died, and the bottom box is mostly pollen. The top box is they're double deep, and there's a lot of weight in there, and you can feel it. And I left the entrance wide open, and they're robbing it out for sure. Which is fine.
So I just jumped over to YouTube and it's still playing my intro.
Are you sure?
That can't be right. Joey, are you seeing me and yeah, he's got to be. Why would my intro still be playing over there? Huh. Oh well, I'm not gonna mess with it, I guess.
All right, I got it.
My
And
intro.
you're fine.
Okay. I jumped over to the YouTube and maybe I'll just shut down YouTube over there.
No, you
No?
need to turn your volume, or I got to turn my volume off. There.
My volume's off, but
Yeah, mine's off. What I do is, of course, I don't know how big your screen is. I put both of them up, and I have the chat in YouTube off to my left, and then I have the chat in
yep.
StreamYard, everything in the main, what we're seeing each other right now. I'm on
Yeah.
StreamYard. Now, what you can do with, and I think you already know this, is when you type in Peabody, Apiary, if you get, it'll bring their, you don't have to type the whole thing. Hey, Joe.
All right, there's Joey. He says it's a delay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
if you don't go into YouTube, it just kind of like stops sometimes when you're not in it.
Anyone see the Zoom thing with Corey tonight? No, I
No,
did not. Where
Yeah,
is it, Peabody?
he's coming
Where
on.
where is?
I don't know.
Let's see. I had a notification.
Oh, I got an email. So anyway, so I went down to my my hives to a couple days in a row. I checked my rapid rounds for sugar. I made sure they had some Hive Alive fondant. I have a little protein patty in there, and the ones that are alive look really good. But the others, that I lost are lost. So I ended up pulling some of the screen bottoms, the corrugated whiteboard out from under the screens, and I took some pictures that I want to share and go over a little bit tonight. I don't know. I know not everybody runs screen bottom boards, but if you do, this is a little bit about what you'll be seeing at this time of year. So I have that up whenever we get to that point. I want to see if, get some more people in, I guess. But hello, Brian from Colorado. Oh, there's Grayson. Hi, Grayson. So we can go over some of that, some of those bottom boards, and then I also put on the DFM, the microbial direct feed microbial, the super DFM it's called now. So I put on a little bit of that, and I put it right in my rapid round because that's my access to the hive at the moment. I don't have to pop my inner cover to put that on. I can just put it on. So I did some of that today too. I didn't get all of them, but I
Now,
got most of them.
does that make them go to the bathroom more or whatever? Or I've heard, or
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't know all the chemistry behind it, but it's a microbiome for their gut.
hey, Brian.
There's a whole lot of chemistry behind it. I don't understand all of it. And someday I probably will. But it's just in the springtime I give them 2 doses, and then I dose them whenever they don't look as good as they did the last time that I was doing an inspection. So if I start to see any symptoms of virus, they get it, or if they just start to seem a little sluggish or the colony's gotten smaller, I'll give them some of that right away, right in the moment. And then I can evaluate further. But I got the stuff.
You don't really put it on when it's honey supers on or anything like that?
No, no. So when my honey, when I put my supers on, I don't do anything to the hive at all. Supers are on, they're doing their thing. I don't go into them. I will manipulate the frames in the supers. If I got 3 supers on and they're all chimneying up, I'll start pulling them out to the sides, or I'll move the supers around, but I don't go in the brood box at all after the supers are on. Then when I pull my supers in July, I usually put Formic Pro on right then and there. And I feed. They get all of my scraps from extraction. I take all all of the various tools you use for extraction goes out along a tree line, and they get to help themselves to that. I take all the wet supers down way back down the back, and they get to clean up all the wet supers. They get to, if I'm jarring honey and the buckets, after I pour it into my bottling tank, then they get to clean up that as well. So they're getting fed honey from extraction process, and then the Formic Pro's on, and then I'll start feeding. Then I'll just feed all the way through, and I do open feeding here. So I know that's a little controversial, but I mean, I got 30 hives, so either my hives are eating it, and if someone's muscling their way in and getting some, well, that's okay too.
Yeah, it's Brian said pollen's coming out there in Colorado,
Mm-hmm.
and it's 48 degrees. They're busy flying.
Nancy, you
Yeah,
might
I
want
had
to
What's that, Joey?
go ahead, Joey. What?
the StreamYard link. You
Uh-huh.
might want to pin it to the top it'll get buried.
Oh yeah,
You got to go back to YouTube to do that.
Yep, I did put it in, and I didn't pin it. You are correct. So where is it?
Repost
Here
it.
it is. Here it is. All right.
Yep.
Now where'd you go? Now I lost his. There you go. Okay. I pinned it to wherever it was.
That's fine. It's there. I see it.
Did you? So I had some bees were coming in covered in a dust, in a very light colored, almost ivory, and they had ivory in their pollen packs, and they were all covered in dust. However, in my area, I know that's not anything that's blooming now, that they're in the farmers' corn silo, or they're into a bird feeder somewhere. They're into something, but it's not anything viable.
It could be like corn dust or something like that, if
Mhm.
or feed.
It's real light. They were rolling around in it. You could see they're all their bodies are all covered in it.
Was it white?
Yeah, like an ivory. Yeah.
It might have been corn, ground corn.
Yep. Hi,
Hey,
Matt.
Matt.
And then I was over at my girlfriend's today. She's one of my mentors, and she had some cheetah colored pollen coming in, and she has a what's it called? It's a real early bloomer here. Witch hazel. She has a witch hazel bush across the street, and they were into that.
Well, they're always good. They're looking for some, you know, natural stuff is better than sub. I don't know what.
Yeah.
That from
So
you?
this is, can you see that?
Yep.
So this is one of my corrugated bottom boards. The right hand side here. Can you see my cursor?
Yep.
This is the west side. And up, well, this is the north, kind of like the cold side, northwest side here. And this here is the south, the east, southeast. Sun comes up here, sets over here. So you'll see I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frames. They're clustered in the middle. But this is the cluster here. A little bit back here. That is mostly cappings. Oh,
Like a couple hive beetles.
yep, there's a couple dead hive beetles in there. We're going to go way in. So here's the corn pollen. There's pieces, this is a piece of corn. There's a dead beetle. You see some bee parts. You see some, but there's some white curly. And I think that is drone, or I think that's cappings from
Is that a mite off to the right there?
here.
That might be a mite.
Here's a bee. Shriveled up. I got some more. And there's some chunks of sugar. There's all kinds of interesting stuff in there, but I have more. Let's see if I hit this button. No. That's a video from. So this is a lot of honey here. That's not the same one. Oh, this is an interesting one. Check this one out.
You got beetle larvae in there.
See what that is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's larva.
That's not
it's hive
good
beetle larva. So this is a little smaller colony.
And that's recent?
That's today.
Really?
These two pictures were taken today. So this colony here is a little
Did you
smaller.
get into that hive since you seen that?
No. No. So this colony is a little smaller. Going to see a lot of more dead beetles in there. You're seeing all this dead
Is that
beetle
hive
larva.
beetle larvae or is that wax moth?
That's hive beetle. I think it's hive beetle. But look at all the beetles in there.
Yep. You got
Look at them all.
You got about 3 frames of bees.
Yep. And they're moving with the sun. That's the NT and Taranoff study, is how they move as the sun's up here and then it sets over here. But yeah, so I want to zoom in on this one, see if there's anything else interesting in there. So a lot of cappings. Oh yeah, you can tell I'm feeding pollen patties. These chunks here are from the pollen patty. There's some pieces of bees. And it's interesting to see, here's corn. This is a little hard chunk of corn. Came in on somebody. But the last time I cleaned these would have been, here's some of that white pollen that came off the pollen Somebody's pollen pants. Don't know what this is. This might be sugar. So I cleaned all these off. The last time I cleaned this off would have been in late December. So
Is that Super DFM?
and then I don't know how good this video is because they get spicy when you dose them. They come after you pretty good. And I didn't have any. I had a light sweater on, but I didn't have a veil or nothing on. And now this here is another bottom board. Oh, so the bottom boards are interesting because they start to tell you when they start producing wax. When you pull these out, you can start to see when they have wax on them. There's no wax in there now, which there shouldn't be in February, but again, just a lot of residual. You can kind of tell what's going on in your hive from these.
I don't see any mites, but it's hard to see.
No, I didn't see any mites either when I looked at them. I mean, there might be one or two, but it wasn't anything crazy. This again, some of the corn. But reading bottom boards is real informational. Now I take these out. Whoop, is that it?
I
think
guess
that's it.
There we go.
Oh, there's Bill. Hey, Bill.
He's eating.
He's got you muted.
Mushroom honey, never heard of it. Do bees gather pollen from mushrooms?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't think mushrooms is a fungus, and they have airborne spores.
Yeah.
So I don't think bees would gather spores. I know that's interesting, Brian. You'll have to let us know what you find out on that. Oh, honey is infused with mushrooms. Ooh. I would freeze dry the mushrooms first. I wouldn't put the moisture in powdered form, maybe. Yeah, okay.
I could
would
think of a
freeze
lot of
dry
other
them.
things I'd rather infuse in honey.
Me too.
Okay, thanks, Joey. You want to
Yep.
say it?
Yeah, that's like I told somebody one time. I don't eat anything grown in cow poop or horse
Mhm.
poop, and all they don't throw in there. I said, the heck they don't. I said,
Yeah, I don't know about
Walk out in
that.
the cow pasture one day, see what you see.
well, up here where Nancy, well, not so much where Nancy lives, but off of US 1 there's mushroom factories all over the place.
Yep.
They haul all their rotten hay up there to them
Yep.
and horse manure and all that stuff. And then they sprinkle I guess you call them spores.
Yep.
over it. Well,
Yeah. Yeah, the horse poop or the cow poop or whatever always has those moths. I don't know if they're the gray moths, the white moths. I don't know if they're the hive beetle or the wax moths. But the little white butterflies, They're not, they're moths. They're usually all over.
I'll be right
California.
back.
Sorry I'm
Okay.
eating there. Sorry I'm eating everybody, but I'm having a late dinner tonight.
That's all right. We all do it. What's Ryan saying about yeah, I'm sure I can work the local mushroom market out here. Yeah.
I like the next one myself. Queen bee.
Ah,
Shrooms.
yeah, shrooms. It's really
Magic
shrooms.
mushrooms. If my 80s memory is intact, I think it was magic mushrooms.
Yeah.
There's Joey.
No,
Joey's
he
back.
is out there. He is out there where they like to grow. They put a little bit of marijuana in their honey.
Oh, really? But that would have to be free. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know about that one either because you got to bring that up to what? 220. I mean, you got to bring that to fire to
I don't want to.
extract,
You have to be
you
that.
know,
I don't know. Queen
or
bee,
maybe it
where are
might
you
be.
from? So Joey got in the hives today, did you?
No, I didn't go in any today. I was planning on it. I really was. I got busy with a few other things.
Hmm.
I don't know when our flow is going to get good enough to do splits here. I'm kind of waiting on that and seeing a few more drones. But I can still pour a little honey out. Like I poured a couple of buckets up today in my bottling tank. Set the buckets out there, and they attacked it. So there's a little flow out there, but not enough to keep their attention. So I go in a hive, I can't stay in it long.
Right.
So that's
Don't tell me they're
Bill's.
eating you up there, Joe. Joey,
Sir?
don't tell me they're eating you up when you go in them hives.
Oh no, they're not bothering me.
Yeah, I was in mine today with no veil. I mean, I didn't even have a veil on.
I was in
So
mine this afternoon, dropping some patties on them. Little so and so stung me on the pinky.
But
That hurt.
yeah, there was some talk about the bees hurting, having a more of a venom in the spring than they do in the fall, but they're not sure if it's just because we're more sensitive because we haven't gotten stung in 3 months, or if
Yeah.
they really are more potent, you know. The jury is out on that.
I don't know. I haven't heard. That's why I wear gloves. Hey,
Yeah.
Dennis.
I started with using Vicks Vapor Rub on my fingers in spring, and then I was able to transition to gloveless. I just I couldn't get the frames. I was just so,
Well,
I don't
doesn't
know,
the,
I wasn't
little slick,
dexterity.
doesn't the Vicks make a little slick?
No, the Vicks makes them go away. They'll go, the bees will stay away from your fingers. So you
Hmm.
put Vicks Vapor Rub and then you go and you do your inspections, and then you do that for about a year, you know, starting in spring. And then in the falls, you know, in September, October, if you're really in there, doing, you might wear gloves because they might get a little more testy, but as you get more and more comfortable, you find you're putting less and less Vicks Vapor Rub on your fingers. The next thing you know, you're just going in. The gloves were so bulky. I don't know if it was because I had goat skin from Lowe's. I used to buy those, and I still have them. I still have them on my cart, but I just couldn't. It seemed like I dropped things, and I just couldn't get good grips on things, and they were sticky, and I just got away from it.
Yeah, I typically wear a nitrile glove, and I didn't have any days because I was out, so I need to finish feeding.
You don't even feel it. You don't even feel. You can count you can count the stings in your fingers after a while, but you
Yeah.
don't even feel it. You don't
No.
even know you're stung.
Yep, I knew it today though.
Yeah.
I went to pick
Gets a
my
little
hive
tender.
tool up, and she was hiding on the underside of the hive tool, and she caught me.
Third Dodd got your questions for you, Nancy.
Oh, darn, I forgot to go over to, okay, here we go. Let's look at this. Nancy, with your clipped queens, what happens when they decide to swarm? Do they just land on the ground out in front of the hive? If so, do they make it back to the hive? They do not make it back to the hive. So I have found them maybe 10 feet from the hive, down real low on a small tree. And I found them right out in front of the hive. It's just a ball. They'll cover them up on the ground outside the hive. And then you take a frame that's a drawn frame, and lay that gently on top of that swarm that's now on the ground. And then put that in a 5 frame, put another frame, put that in the 5 frame. If you find her, she's marked, you know, then you just put the 5 frame right next to that clump, and they'll all just walk in. Hi, Mark. Clay. So yeah, that's how. And I do have, you know what? I do have a picture. I do have a picture of a queen. She's still just oh, never mind. So it's gone through a dead out, and I found a green queen. She was pretty too. They were all just gorgeous bees, but they were dead. And I did take a picture of her.
What, the queen was dead? It flew out, you mean?
No, that was the dead out. The whole hive was dead. It was Monday. I knew the hive was dead, so I went through it a little bit. I pulled some frames and looked around. DC JW. I have the picture. I have a picture of that queen with the clipped wing on my phone here. Let me find it real quick, and then I'll bring it up. Bye, honey. Let's see here. Oh,
I got a question.
I
I've
was
got
not
a.
messing around today because it's just nice out.
Who's on?
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a notification down here on the bottom says uploading recordings. Are y'all seeing that?
Nope.
And up at the top where it says
Where?
like private chat and comments, it says recording there. But it won't let me look at anything. I've never seen that before.
Ooh.
Huh.
You know where
I
it says
don't.
you're
I'm
in,
not.
you know where it says you're in the show?
Yeah, I
It's
see
got
the
another
same
one
thing.
right beside it that says uploading recordings. Stay in
I
studio
see
until
the same thing.
you're
Yeah.
seeing it.
Yeah,
I've never seen that before.
Oh, here's a button that says recording. Let me click on it. Oh yeah, Sawmill Charlie, it's uploading. It's uploading me. It's uploading Joseph Rawls. It's uploading Bill. I don't know what that means.
Is it doing this automatically or something?
Yeah, because I
Oh.
didn't click anything. Maybe
Now,
it's
I'm coming in.
Are
I guess
you sharing to your
I don't have a share button. I don't have a share button here.
No,
for
I
some
didn't
No,
reason.
see
you have to be an administrator as well to have that share button, Charlie.
Okay.
Charlie's an admin.
Not
Matt's an admin.
not on StreamYard.
All right, hold on.
You have to
I'm
make
trying
me
to.
you have to make me an admin in StreamYard. I got
Yeah.
admin on your other thing.
You used to be. She had you admin one time on StreetYard when I
I
helped
did?
her originally set it up.
Yeah, so I'm trying
You'll have to you'll have to
wanna-
get into that later on.
Yeah, I was just
Yeah.
wondering if it was something I did, you know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It'd be nice if this worked. This is a video I did with the queen. Now this queen is blue for some reason, which she shouldn't be blue because she was from late last fall. I think I might say that in the video.
Hmm.
But she is blue. But she's dead or no longer living. I don't know what I'm supposed to allowed to say on here or not.
Blue paint, right? She had a blue paint dot on her, right?
Yeah.
Then that would have meant she's 5 years old.
I didn't mark 5 years ago. No, she was so I must have I had a blue pen already for this coming year, and it must have been the closest one I had handy. So that's what I marked her.
There it is. I wouldn't think so.
But technically, she's got to get any queens that I would find will get a light blue in spring here when I go into them.
So what is the color for this year anyway?
Blue.
Blue.
We all talked out.
I had my sound muted for a second. Did anybody answer Mark Miller's question?
Yeah, I typed it in.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see it now.
Pop up the video.
I can't find it. I can't find it. No, I can't find you guys. There you go. All right. Where is Mark here? Mark, I don't think so. What's his question?
He's
have a
1,
question.
2, 3. There you
I have
go.
a question. Is it possible to exchange viruses through egg powder? Oh, is it possible to exchange viruses through egg
Powder.
powder?
I wouldn't think
Egg.
so because those eggs are heated. They have to be to make a powder out of them. They have to be heated and then freeze dried, and then they get crushed.
Oh, okay.
Pollen sub through egg powder, such as pollen sub. So which viruses? Egg powder. Mark, I'm not following you.
It doesn't matter with the virus. If you just like bird flu, anything like that, it's not going to transmit to a human because we cook our chicken to at least 165 degrees. So if you heat that egg
Yeah, and
and the egg had it in it, it's going to get cooked. It's going to get heated out of it. It's going to die. And
isn't the bird flu transmitted through respiratory? Isn't that a respiratory disease?
I don't know.
And then is there egg powder in pollen?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think the bird flu is, I don't know, Bill, you're pretty quick at looking this stuff up. See how bird flu is transmitted or transferred, I guess. Is the question.
Uh, Bird flu, also known as avian influenza, is primarily transmitted through close contact with infected birds or their droppings.
But you breathe it in, right? Isn't it respiratory? Oh, here it is. It is here. Dodd House is saying it is respiratory, I believe, by aerosol or body fluid. But you would breathe. You would have to
Contact
breathe
with
it
an
in.
infected bird, saliva, mucus, or droppings, inhaling virus particles in the air, touching contaminated surfaces, and then touching the eyes, nose, or mouth.
Okay, so it is contact, respiratory and contact, but it wouldn't be in the egg.
Transmitted through eggs.
We talked about this the other night. We went into some great detail on, and then Charlie turned us around and brought us back. We were
Here's how
wandering
it's
deep in the woods.
transmitted through eggs. Yes, bird flu can be transmitted through eggs, but only under certain circumstances. Transmission. The virus can be present in the egg, white or yolk, of an infected bird. If the bird is infected with bird flu, the virus can be shed into the eggs it lays. Risk to humans. The risk of contracting bird flu from eating eggs is very low. This is because the virus is easily killed by cooking eggs to an internal temperature
There you
of
go.
160. Additionally, eggs
you
from infected birds are typically screened out of the food supply.
Okay. There you go. That answered all of our little questions there.
Yeah. So now you know more about bird flu than you want to ever know.
Through egg powder such as pollen sub. So now the other thing is, the other question that Mark brings up here is there egg powder in pollen sub? That's an interesting question. No. Is OV is Prevention virus spread. Well, it's preventing viruses from it's killing the mites that spread virus.
Okay.
They
Yeah.
inject the virus into the bee when they bite them, but
Yes. Egg powder, particularly egg yolk powder, is often included in the ingredient in honeybee pollen substitute mixtures. It is possible a valuable protein source for the bees. However, the extract composition can vary depending upon specific pollen substitute product or recipe being used. All right, so there's another question.
Boy, Mark is our little brainiac, man. He's so smart. So it does have the pollen patties we feed have a protein from eggs, right? Who are you laughing at, Charlie?
Huh.
Hi, Sarah.
I'm back.
Hiya. You were chuckling. You were laughing.
Yeah, well, if you got eggs in there, maybe that's how the bees died in California. I doubt it.
Oh, okay. Tom's in. Hey, Tom. Hey, Matt. You're all right. So we were gonna try to figure out how to do some more admin. Because I wanted I wanted you guys to share, because now you can. I wanted you guys to share my chat through your chats.
You have to make Bill an admin or co-host or something like that. I forget what it is.
Yeah.
I think it's a co or admin.
All right.
You have to go into your settings somewhere, but I'm not sure whether you can do that right now.
Yeah, I don't think you can do it right now either.
Okay.
So I typed in the question, will honeybee pollen substitute transmit bird flu to the bees? And it's not giving me an answer.
No, they don't
they
even
don't-
know that's a question.
And,
We're the only ones thinking that stuff up. Yeah. I don't want to go down that. I don't really want to go down this path. I mean, it was interesting to learn a little bit about eggs being in pollen and whatnot that Mark brought up, but I don't want to speculate on the whole
No, that's
whole
not
thing.
why we're doing this.
Yeah. Hi, Rick. What else did I want to? I thought about something else to talk about. We looked at the bottom, reading the bottom boards. It's interesting with those boards to find out what's going on inside your hive. It's just another tool to use. The corrugated bottom boards. If you run screen bottoms. Now I run screen bottoms just because that's what my mentor, my first year beekeeping class teacher offered us, was screen bottom boards. And then there was also a solid. So we bought a kit, and it had solid bottom board and a screen bottom board. So it was kind of both options. And then I ended up going towards the screen bottoms for my area, for my yard down there. So and they've been doing well. I actually tend to overwinter better, and then I still have a handful of solids. and I tend to overwinter better in the screen bottom boards than the solid bottoms. And I think
Well,
that's
you
all
can, like I say, you can use them as a tool. I use my Coroplast when you put underneath those screens. I can check mite loads after OA vaporization in the wintertime. I'm not going to open up my hives, break any
Right.
propane seals and stuff like that. But you can check where the bees are, like we did tonight. You can check and see whether you got a small amount of mites or you're loaded. And you kind of get an idea whether you got a hive beetle or whether they're just pulling cappings off and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I pulled mine out. I guess it was Saturday, I guess it was. And I looked at them. I had sugar bricks on, so you could see a lot of sugar. And you didn't see any mites and some cappings. And I didn't see really any pollen or anything like that. So it's another tool.
Yeah.
They brought some pretty big little chunks of corn in there, didn't they?
Yeah, I'm trying to bring it back up again. I'm going to try to bring it back up. Yeah, there was big chunks of corn, and I know that they bring a husk in. They get into the
Grain bins.
hairs of the corn. I don't know, my terminology isn't correct, but the corn silk, they get into that and bring some husky things looking things in.
We're cleaning out a corn bin now, and the bees are all over it, all over the corn dust and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever get that bin dried down?
Yeah, we got some of it dried down, and we're starting to load out of it. It's dry. They got the dryer still running. So come to find out, Pioneer Corn last year sold 600 or 800 customers a variety of corn that the driest you can get it is 17.5%. It won't dry down any further. And we were one of those customers. So
Oh.
So did it make allowances for that?
nope. We still got hit with they gigged us for not having dry corn. And then they told us what it was. The mill told us what it was. So they got a nasty gram.
All right, here we go. I found it. Here we go.
Yeah, I've heard it used, Mark. I've heard it using the mineral oil on sweet corn too.
So here's one. Here is the corrugated that goes underneath the I don't know if some of you weren't on when I pulled this up before. It's pretty early in the chat, but this is one of the corrugated whiteboards that goes underneath my screen bottoms. So up here, if you see my cursor, this is the east, southeast. This is winter sunrise here, and winter sunset is here down in the corner. So it's kind of diagonal at this point. But if you see, so they're all clustered up in here. This is 1, 2, 3. This might even be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This might be 5 frames here. But if you get in there real tight with it, you'll see. Sorry, I don't make you sick. But this is a chunk of pollen, some of the white pollen. Seeing some curlies here. I believe this would be brood. cappings coming off. The dark cappings would be the honey.
Yep.
There's a beetle, dead beetle. But let me see if I can come. Ooh, I can. Oh, look at this. There's sugar.
Yep.
Here's some of that. And then another one I have here. Well, look at this one. This is another bottom board.
I don't see any mites.
No, that's what Charlie was looking for. No, you shouldn't. Here's some pollen. Here, you can tell I'm feeding pollen. Here's some pollen. This is cappings. Here's a skeleton of something. Oh, here's corn. Here's a little corn kernel. Right here. And to give you some reference, this is an inch. This square is an inch. To give you a reference of what size is the stuff that we're looking at here. It's microscopic. I mean, it's, well, not microscopic, but you know what I mean. Small. Oh, so this is a fun one. Check this one out. What do you see here?
Hi, beetle.
Look at him. Look at him.
There's
No,
some-
that's larva. Yeah. Yeah, small hive beetle larva.
Yep.
Look at it all. Now I give you a reference too. Oops. This changes on me so quick. This here is the cold side. So the bees kept, before they threw the larva out or down, this was all on the cold side. Here, this is a small
So
colony.
the larvae drop themselves, or did the bees take that out?
I think a little bit of both. I think the bees pushed them down.
Being on the cold side, they probably froze and dropped down.
Maybe they dropped. Yeah. Now they will. So my rapid rounds in the top, they will run that larva up when it gets warmer. They'll run that larva up, and then I will take a tote with me out to the yard, and I'll take that rapid round. That's going to be full of moisture and hundreds of thousands of small hive beetle larvae that's alive. And I'll take that whole wrap around off and I'll put it in a tote full of soapy water. I'll just drop the whole rapid round right in there. The bees aren't in the rapid round anymore. They have no interest in what's going on because we're heading into a flow.
Yeah, Gary,
So
they're
they have no-
dead.
Yeah, this is all. So I don't know if there's anything else exciting on this one. Again, you'll see that's the skeletal end of a bee. You see some pollen from the pollen patty. It's just trash. This is all trash that the bees are throwing out. I don't mean to bore you with my screen bottoms, but I love screen bottoms. Oh,
Super DFM. Is that a tablespoon?
yep. A guesstimate. Here's my rapid rounds. I have high life bonded.
They don't send you a scoop for that?
Maybe. But they get fired up. They get a little fired up with that when you put that DFM in there.
Why? They don't like it?
No, I mean, you're just, you're taking the roof off and dropping powder on them. So they're a little like not real happy. So this is, oh, okay. So this here's my setup, my winter setup. This is gonna be a screen bottom board. There's white corrugated. And I have medium, deep, inner cover, and then this is a honey super. And then took the lid off. I have burlap. That burlap is a tool. If that burlap is moldy or wet, I know I have a situation where there's something's wrong and I need to dig deeper into it. If it's dry, just like it was when I put it in fall, we're good to go. So it's not a moisture. And then this is my wrapping around in there. This is, screen sock. This is the little jiggy thing. And then my insulation here.
And then there's a inner cover below that insulation.
Yeah, that's the inner cover. It's a deep inner cover here, about 2.5 inches, but it's not deep enough to put an outer cover on with this wrap it round. So I'm getting a better R value between, so that inner cover also has a piece of double bubble of Reflectex is up here, and there's Reflectex here. So that's
mean
about
your-
6.
Your telly lid, right? Not
Yes,
inner-
there's Reflectex here, and then there's Reflectex underneath the outer cover. So it's
Right.
given me an R value of 6 inches, 8 inches, perhaps. So we're going, that's more, and then that's what's inside my wrap it round at the moment today.
Is that
We have
sugar cake? Sugar cake you made?
There's sugar. This is just regular white sugar that I started the winter with. Then I put this here is the Hive Alive fondant taken out of the bag. This here is some pollen. Here's your DFM. And then as we move into spring and it warms up and that hive starts creating a lot of brood, this is all going to be gone and it's going to be full of moisture, like a sweat. And it's going to be full of small hive beetle larvae. And then I come along and I pop this whole thing off and dispose of it. Oh, there's my sticky bus. That's it. I'm gonna catch up with the comments. But anyway, that's a little bit what my hives look like today. What's this?
Yeah, Gary, we already said that.
Oh, okay. I'm kind of catching up. What's Mark or Matt? Oh, I'm feeding pollinators. Where's Matt? Missouri?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, some of you old timers, but talk a little bit about the difference between open feeding pollen sub and pollen patty inside the hive. There's some, what's the difference there?
Well, I found when I used to feed pollen powder outside that they will pack the hive frames full of it. and then they don't really use it. And now you just ruin a whole bunch of brood frames. So I quit doing it. And they only can do it when it's got good flying weather. So like last week, they had pollen patties on there and they're raising brood, and it's 35 degrees. Put a patty on, they can eat on that and produce jelly and all that stuff. And I don't think they store too much of a pollen patty that I know of.
Mm-mm.
I don't think they store anything from a pollen patty. They eat it. They eat it as they need it.
Mm-hmm. And doesn't
And
well
then
the jelly actually what comes out of their head, or it's a what do you call it, an excretion from the bee.
Yep, it's a
Mhm.
gland.
mandible gland. It's in their mandibles, I believe. Don't hold me to that one. But and then the pollen, the dry sub, they take that back. But if they don't have honey stores or they don't have, to mix to make the bee bread, it just gets packed away and they entomb it. And then you got a lot of brood brood
Yeah, it's
frames
like
there
right
that
now
you
I
need.
got the hive that's a dead out. I got about almost, I'll say, a good 8 deep frames of pollen in there. Now, where they must have stored it from last year or something, but
Mm-hmm.
it's just like everything else.
Hey Stu. I
Fresh
didn't say
fruit,
hi to Stu yet.
fresh vegetables are more, they want the fresh stuff versus the old stuff because it loses its, what do you call it? The food value.
Yeah.
Mandibular gland. That's it.
Yep.
Well, that's queen mandibular gland, but that's not the gland that makes the royal jelly. The queen doesn't make royal jelly. The tendons do.
Yeah. So,
Oh, there's Keith. Hi,
I-
Keith. How's Samson? He's our mascot, by the way. I'm naming him our mascot, the Bee Chat mascot. Keith's
It's the
bee.
hypopharyngeal gland. Hypopharyngeal gland
And where is it located?
on the head. And it's
Yeah.
it only exists in nurse bees for a while and then it goes away.
Yeah, once they transition to another stage.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm always thinking about like where the east side is, where the west side is, and how the bees rotate with the sun and what they're storing where. And I don't know, I'm always thinking about that when I'm putting things in the hive or seeing what's in the hive.
I had to cull a lot of old pollen frames. It's been a couple of years ago now, but they were all the hives in that one yard were getting pollen bound.
yep.
So
I did the same thing. I think last year I tried to scrape them. I think I'd have to use it on, what do you call it? Air. The thing you use to cut off bolts with, that back and forth.
yeah, air compressor
Yep.
or yeah.
Anyway, in order to get the damn pot, I thought, well, I'll freeze it. Let me see if it's easier. Like regular brood comb will just flake or whatever. And that didn't work. And trying to scrape it off with my hive tool, I said, boy, I'd have to have new shoulders put in by the time I get all that done. I
Punch
just
it out, throw it in the can.
Yep.
I just put it in the damn dumpster
Yep.
and be done.
They make great fire starters, but don't put it in your smoker because then you'll be breathing all that in. Every time I say something on Bee Chat that's never happened, then it happens. So I'm not going to say it, but I haven't. I am going to say it. I haven't ever had pollen bound issues here. I've never gotten pollen bound. I've gotten honey bound a handful of times, but I've never gotten pollen bound here. Some want to blame that on a pole line queen, but
Aren't they, hold on, aren't they more of a pollen thing?
oh yeah, that the friends of mine that run pole lines tend to have more. But when pollen bound and stuff, I always think is more of a queen issue, which pole line queen it would be. But I think sometimes there's a queen issue when you get pollen bound. That's an indication that that queen needs to get pulled or.
Yeah, Clay, mine's been eating it up as far as the sub on the inside.
Samson. Yeah, our new mascot, JW. Well, Clay. Where's Clay? Do you remember, Charlie, where Clay? Because
He's
his are
He's down there next to Walton Mountain.
Yeah. He's down near me.
oh, they're gearing up there, huh?
He's on the other side of the mountain.
Yeah.
North of Lynchburg.
I think the elevation. That's not right.
Appalachian.
No, the you're above sea level. Your elevation, depending what your elevation is, sometimes I think is huge where your yards are as opposed to location.
That's for sourwood, they tell me, is what Benny says.
Yeah.
I don't know whether the trees only
Well,
grow in a certain height or what.
if you tell me he was a good boy, scratch his ears. Samson. Yeah, the maples, the ones with the little silver, they're the little silver buds on the maples here. I noticed today.
Yeah. Red maple buds are out and getting ready to pop.
Yeah, I don't know the difference between the. I honestly don't know the difference.
And the red maples have a red colored bud on them. And the silver maples are a lighter color. That's why they call them silver. It's like a silverish cover on them.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys have red buds?
Yep.
My red maples, or my regular maples, I guess you'll say, are too high for me. But I took Louis waters a maple at the Walmart pretty much every day. So when I'm sitting there while he's watering that tree at Walmart, I look at it and it had little silver buds. I could actually touch them. Here you go, Brian. Here's.
I don't know. I know one. I got trees up on the hill there. And they seem to bloom earlier than the one of the maple trees here at the right here at the mill. I don't know why. It must be two different types of trees. Even though they're maple, maybe they're like you say, maybe they're one's a red maple and one's a silver maple.
Silver maple. Now, red buds, that's a different tree
That's a totally different tree.
too. So not to get confused with the tree that's the red bud. That's a good nectar source, I think, for the bees as well. I don't know what kind of tree a red bud is.
Yeah, somebody was telling me they were reading about, people wrote about red buds blooming,
Mhm.
and whoever, this is like, 100 years prior, and they
Mhm.
thought they were talking about red maples. And then they weren't from the area where this old beekeeper was writing these diaries. And they finally figured it. And, later down, they said, no, it's a tree called the red bud. And it's
Hmm.
not what you think it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Red buds, they have those small maroon flowers. Real pretty. They're more ornamental or decorative. People put them in their front yards, and the beetles love the not hive beetles, but the regular yard beetles love those
Japanese,
red buds.
Japanese beetle.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Japanese beetles. Yeah, they love the red buds. Yeah, they're more decorative around landscape. They're more landscape. Oh yeah, hit the like button and subscribe. Forget to say that. I get to play with my buttons here on listen. Do you hear that?
Yeah.
Charlie gonna be up dancing in a minute.
Yeah, yeah.
So I can't hear that on my end.
What's that for?
I don't know, just use it was on it's on the platform to play
Yeah.
music.
It's freebies. People want to put music in the background of their
Yeah.
recordings or whatever.
And you can set the sound level for it.
Is it annoying?
Yeah.
Yep. At that level it is. At that sound level it is.
Oh. What's this one? See, I can't hear it.
Won't hear nothing.
Now?
Oh yeah,
That's too loud.
All right, I'll stop.
Ah,
I'll stop. I just get to play with all these buttons now that I have a real ooh.
pro version.
Yeah, I have a pro version. Thanks to Bill. You see these banners here? If you're looking for any equipment, that's how you get a hold of them. All right. There's the commercials.
Yeah, Larry Moore, I got a few up.
Why do you capture swarms, Joey?
Why?
Yeah. You ain't got enough bees?
I guess that's it. It started out fun. Now it's just kind of addicting.
Yeah, now it's like work too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what I'm getting at is you know, if I want bees, I can make a split,
Yeah.
you know, type of thing. Am I going to go out and put out boxes and
Today.
hang them and go through all that work? Not really.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if you have them sitting in the barn, you know, like you have them when you were young and spunky, and then you got to put them out, or you know,
Or sell them.
yeah, there you
I
go.
actually sold one year before last. I'd never sold a swarm before. Guy said he wanted to buy one. I had a good one, so I sold it to him.
So you don't sell nukes, or Joey? Do you sell nukes?
Yeah, I sell nukes. Yeah,
Oh, okay. Okay.
I just don't like selling a swarm. When you catch it, you don't really know what you got till you
Yeah.
totally them.
I've never done that.
Then you
Some of
spread them out like
my
that, Tom.
highs 10, 12 footers.
Spread them out like that, you work them better. How's your? Well, you were talking about that. You've been working on your bee yard build.
Yep. We've got 2 rows built. They're 30 feet long and 4 foot wide. So we are in phase 1. So we're moving bees to phase 1 next week.
You're putting stone inside those boxes you said?
Yep. The boxes are 4 foot wide, 30 feet long, and filled with 21A. And on the bottom of them is 8 mil plastic, black plastic, sitting on top of the ground. We took a box blade and skimmed the sod off of it. So, yeah, this will be the last apiary we build. So,
Do we have anybody on new? Do we have any new people on tonight? Anybody that want to jump in and say hi? We had someone new on Monday.
Well, we had Queen Bee from South Carolina.
Oh yeah.
She was new, or he was new, whatever.
If I were to start all over again, I think I would do pallets. But when I started, I didn't even know anything about them. I started pre-COVID. So all this YouTube and learning about bees from far and wide wasn't really the common educator when I started. So you just had your local club or a couple local guys that you kind of learned from, and
yeah, I'm
then
sure
COVID.
pallets work for a lot of people, but as you get older as a beekeeper and your back starts bothering you, it's a long ways to bend over. So that's why we're staying with stands.
Our mentor that we had down here years ago, he built his rails similar to what I have in my bee yard, but he makes them short, and it's where he can put the 2 hives back to back. That way he can work one side on either hive on one side, and somebody he's mentoring on the other side of both of them. Never have to change up, and they're always back to back to each other. After I built mine, set up, I saw pictures of his. I said, I wish I'd have done mine that way.
So you put them side, basically like a 2-way pallet. Then
It's a regular bee rail built with 2x6s.
yeah, but you put them side by side, just 2 on a rail.
Well, they're not side by side; they're back to back.
Okay, and then you're coming up on the side of them. That way you can work them like a warm hive.
Yeah.
The warm one. The warm way, or whatever you call it.
Yeah, and then Tom has a point here too, which when you're setting up, you never know what you have as far as skunks and critters and all that. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's true. I need them up off the ground. I can't kneel down. I wouldn't be able to do that all day. But so I guess maybe I wouldn't like that after thinking about it now, because the
Yeah,
cinder
that's why I'm
blocks
bending
gets them
over.
up and off. Yeah.
I got mine on my rails on cinder blocks. That puts that third deep pretty high.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I did with mine. I went from cinder blocks down to cap blocks. That lowered that whole stack about 8 inches or better. Basically a good medium. That really helped out when it came to honey zippers.
Yeah.
And my nukes, because I don't go really high that much, they're up on cinder blocks where they're
Yeah.
kind of at the right height and all that.
Yeah.
And then I do put some honey supers on them, but usually I don't have too much problem with that. Of course, it's
Hey,
they're
Doug.
they're half the size. They're not as heavy. Hey, Doug.
Doug's on. Hi, Doug. Yeah, and I wouldn't get 5 or 6. My max is 3, and then I pull. If it gets higher than that, I start pulling, because I'm backyard, so I 3 is my max for supers, and I might even sell some of them this year and just go to 2. Once they're full, I can pull the frames off and put new frames in, or just extract and put them back.
Well, Doug's got a hive lifting machine too.
Yeah, Doug's commercial. It's a different language, but yeah. Yeah, Doug, that's what I was kind of thinking, if putting the pallets up, so you'd still be able to work 4 next to each other, but put the whole thing up.
Well, actually, Doug, instead of using pallets with the clips, actually has individual hives where they slide them away from each other, and then they slide them all together as a group when it gets to the wintertime. I believe that's how he does it.
Yeah.
Right now, he's got about 5 feet of snow up there. But he
I
was
have
out.
a picture. Go ahead.
I say he was out playing in the snow on his snow machine, as they call it up that way. There's Phil.
Yes, I saw that.
Oh, hey, Philip. Philip has a new video out. I really liked it. Now, I didn't watch the whole thing, Philip, but Philip has a new video about him working in the in his shed making equipment. And I liked it
Yes.
because there was no talking. You just got to see what he was doing, and
Yeah. I saw
that was
that
kind of
today.
nice.
When is he not building equipment?
Yeah. He's expanding. Jeremy. Hi, Jeremy.
Jeremy's on.
Island Honey. So Tom, he's saying, Mike, yeah, all right. Someone was in here talking about 2 deeps or 3 deeps, and someone mentioned in here 3 deeps. I'm thinking, good golly, it's DC here. 3 deeps, you get 3 brood boxes. That's a lot of.
He may not be
That's
all
a lot of.
brood. I
don't think-
do mostly all deeps, but that third box is usually a honey box.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll have a medium on top of my third box. I'm like you, Nancy. I usually start pulling some frames and empty them out and put them back. I got
18.
time.
Oh, yeah, I
says-
don't have any deeps as honey supers just because I couldn't deal with that, the weight of that. So from the beginning,
Yeah.
I didn't have,
Well,
actually in the very beginning, I ran all mediums, and I wouldn't, that's way too many frames to look through. I know Charlie does all mediums, but
I
that's
think
just
it
too
was
much time.
the end of my second year. I had decided that I'm going to go with one size box, and I needed to make my mind up what size box am I going to go with, where I can just kind of
Hmm.
start focusing on buying or building them now. And I decided on mediums. I said, my mind is made up. That's what I'm going to do. In that third year, I got into selling nukes. And everybody wanted deep frames
You
in the
found the
nuke.
error of your ways there.
Then I had to go back and start building deeps. So that's the way I went.
And
Sometimes
it's
I
just
wonder
like
if it
starting
wasn't.
all over too, isn't it, Joey?
Yeah, I still got some mediums, but I'm gonna keep using them till I wear them out. So
There you go.
but
Use them for honey.
yeah, but I wonder sometimes if it wasn't worth messing with them daggum nukes, selling them. Just stick with the honey.
And see, when I was younger, we didn't use a medium or a shallow. We used all deeps for honey and everything. And you get 4 or 5 of them on a hive, you got some honey.
Yeah.
Well, it's like this. I mean, I got some nukes in this past spring, and I didn't want to transfer them to mediums, take the time, and I don't know. I got in some of them hives, even with the hive lifter, even with that big hive tool that Bill got me, trying to crack in boxes open after they'd been sitting there a while.
Yep.
It was rough as far as I was concerned. It was awkward and rough. And even with a hive lifter trying to lift them up, they were heavy, especially going into the fall. And that top box is full of honey. You got about, they might say it might not weigh 100 pounds, but it sure does feel like it. So I work in the hives. I can crack them better with mediums, and I don't know. I worked with deeps when I first kind of started. And right away I'm like, the heck with this. I mean, I know that, and them extra 10 frames are a pain, but it's one way or the other.
Well, another advantage with mediums, and that kind of depends on the time of year, but everything. But also, when you got a double deep, let's just say you're working with deeps, and you need to add another box. Well, you're throwing a lot of empty space up there on top of those beads. So it doesn't really demoralize them, but it does affect them a little bit. Where if you're doing all mediums and you throw another medium on there, you're not giving them such a wide open space, so they're not losing as much heat on top of them. That's just kind of the way I see it. I don't know if there's anything to that or not.
Yeah, it is, because if you're going to use deeps as honey supers, you got to force them to build that honey super totally out before you put another
Yeah.
one on it. Whereas with a
Yeah.
medium, you can let them build 8, 9 frames and then put another medium on it. So, and they'll go back and fill that last frame too,
Yeah.
or that's 2 frames. So,
I have actually pulled a couple of brood frames up in that third deep just to get them up there.
Yep.
And get them started, and then the next time I come through, I'll push everything back down again.
Yep.
Done that too.
So this is one of my pet peeves. How many frames, Tom, you run? 10 frame or 8 frame or 5 frame?
For 9 frame.
12 to 30 nukes. Yeah. What are they?
I think
Honey
the 10
hives.
he's running 10 frame, I think.
Yeah. But then the nukes, well, if they're just, what are they, resource hives? You just pulling stock out of them, or are they making honey? I mean, what are they? I always get on my high horse about this
He needs to come in
nucleus
here.
colonies. I know. I'm baiting them in.
I dare you come in here.
But yeah, that 5 frame nuke, it's either a 5 frame or it's an 8 frame or it's a 10 frame or it's a nuke. I mean,
You switched it.
there he is. There he is. Here he comes. All
Getting
right.
there.
Defend yourself.
Explain yourself.
And myself. All right, I run for honey. They're all 10 frames.
Mm-hmm.
Then I have 12 6 frame double high nukes. So it's 12 frames total that I
Are they?
pull. So there's 6 frames deeps, but they're too high. So I'll pull a nuke out of it, and it still leaves me enough bees to put a virgin cell at queen or a virgin queen in, and make another nuke a few weeks later. So I
So
can
did you
turn
build your boxes?
nukes over once
Huh?
once a month, or once every 3 weeks.
Did you build them boxes?
Then I have 12 4x4 4-framers. And then I have a 6 5-frame horizontal hive. Or six 5 frames that I got from Ricky. So I have a whole combination of different nukes.
So
My biggest one are my 6-framers. That makes it really nice. I pull 4 frames, the queen 4 frames. I still have brood in the box. I still have honey in the box, and then I wait 6 days, break all the cells down, and I give them a virgin queen.
well,
And then
did you make your 6 frame boxes?
yeah, I made them myself,
Okay.
and they were almost 6.5 frame. I gave myself plenty of room, so I can split frames apart and pull them out.
Right.
So
Instead of working in my wood shop, I'm working in my kitchen.
So my big horizontal hive, I got 12 4x4 8-framers in it. And I'm thinking about making them 6 frames also. And then I'll have like 10 of them in the box.
Right.
So there'll be 6 on top of 6 instead of 4 on top of 4.
Mm.
So that's how I get. So it all depends on. I do my 6 frames first, my 12 6 frames, and I do my double 4 frames, and then I got any extra queens, they go in the horizontal hive.
Really,
I was
Bill?
trying to think of the boy's name. They had a guy I used to follow. He doesn't post anything on YouTube anymore. Seems like his last name was Jones. He went with he kind of started over a little bit, and he went with all 7-frame boxes. Everything he did, it was 7 frames. He said that was perfect. Every box he had was 7 frame.
Yeah. Here,
So
Stu's saying something about.
it's kind of funny, Nancy, that you brought up about these the nuke hives being any size hive. I had somebody come in the store today and ask me for a nuke hive, and I asked him what size hive he wanted, and he looked at me like I was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, when I was starting out, I'm like a 5-frame nuke, and then I'm training. Then you go to teach and you say, oh, it's a 5-frame, or this is a nuke, and it's really a 5-frame, and it's just confusing. Like, if it's a nuke, It can be anything. If it's a brand new hive that you're getting established, that to me is a nuke, whether it's in a 5 frame, an 8 frame, or even a 10 frame. But, you know, call 5 frame a 5 frame. Don't automatically call 5 frame a nuke.
Right.
I don't know. It's just one of my little pet. I don't have many, but it's just one of my. Yeah.
That's why I had to get on because I have 6
A
frames,
5 frame
5
is
frame,
a nuke.
4 frame nuke boxes.
Yeah.
A 5 frame is a nuke, but a nuke isn't always 5 frames. That's what you're trying to say.
Yes. 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 And for the sake of new beekeepers, I mean, we're not really geared towards new beekeeping, but we all talk to new beekeepers. But if I don't know. I think it'd be
And if
less
you, and if
confusing if we all got on the same page.
right.
So, Bill, was he looking for a 5 frame nuke, or did he know how big a nuke was?
He wanted a 5 frame box. Is what he wanted. But he didn't call it a 5 frame box. He called it a nuke box. That's why I asked him what size box he wanted. Huh?
Did you correct him? Did you show him the error of his ways?
I asked him what size box he wanted.
Good.
And that's when he gave me the look.
Good.
Yeah, DC, you're on your own page. Yep, we all have our own pages.
Yeah, overwintered. Right. So I sell overwintered nukes, which is a 5 frame colony. It's a queen, her brood, her nurse bees, and then the food. But doesn't always necessarily all in that same box over winter. It's all from my yard, but I could take that 5 frames out of an 8 frame box. So you're buying a nucleus colony, 5 frame nucleus colony, overwintered queen. If I say it's an overwintered queen, if it's not overwintered, then I say that too. Those would be more in July or June. You want a nuke, but not an overwinter. You want a new queen, which is what I would buy. I'd buy a new queen.
And what I really like on my 6 frames on top of each other, I'll do one more graft right around the summer solstice and get those queens mated. And those will be my overwintered queens to sell. So I can
Oh,
sell
easy.
12 of them. I can sell them in March when everybody wants them. End of March. And then I'll be grafting. I'll be putting bees and queens in by the middle of April again, starting the process over.
Right. Nuke is short for nucleus. It's the nucleus of the
Yeah.
colony. Correct.
Yes, that's
So if
correct.
you're only you're taking the center out, you're taking the nucleus part out of a 10 frame or an 8 frame, or 3 frames out of a 5 frame.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Right. Or you could take 2 3 frames out of a 10 frame. Or
Yeah.
2 4
And
frames out
that's
of
a
10
nucleus
frame.
colony that you're getting started. Sure.
Have
But
your
just to make it
old
a little
queen and
more
put a new
simple,
queen in.
to simplify it a little bit, is just that, a 5 frame is a 5 frame doesn't necessarily mean that's a nuke. That's all I was saying.
Right.
Mm.
I gotta put my dishes away.
Yeah, I need to help my wife out sometime.
Yeah, you might be living in that honey shed. If you don't.
1,000 square feet. I think I could do that, Bill. I even
Lot
got a
bigger than
loft.
mine.
Could put a bed up there in the loft.
Yeah, take your TV out there, internet access out there. You got
I
it
got
made.
internet. I
You
got
got it
internet. I got heating and air conditioning for it.
You got it made out there then.
Yeah, being an electrical engineer, I ran electric out there. I ran 80 amps out to the barn, so I have enough that I can put a welder in if I want.
Yeah, I got 200 amp service to mine.
Yeah, you got even bigger.
So I sell, now here's another in the chat, there's conversation going on. So if I have a beekeeper that comes to me and had a dead out and has drawn frames, then I sell them a set, which is 2 or 3 frames, depending, of just the queen, her brood, her brood, and workers. And then they plug that into their 5, 8, 10 frame box and start the colony feeding, or if it's in the flow. But I sell sets.
Yeah, I've never done that, Nancy. I usually just do the 5 frame.
What do
Yeah,
they
but
go
not
for,
everybody
Nancy?
needs that much. They don't need that much. And I sell a set for whatever the market price of the package is.
Right. That's what I do with swarms. I have quite a few people that all they want is one of my swarms. And I put them in a
Oh,
5 frame nuke box. So I sell for up to just about a package price.
yeah, there you go. That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. But they know what they're buying because that's what they asked for.
Yeah. That makes a difference.
Right. So I won't. And sometimes I give away my swarms to people that say they need bees, but they don't want to buy any because they don't have the money. So I just
Yeah.
give my extra swarms to them.
Yeah.
That's nice, Tom. That's a nice gesture. Yeah.
We're like one of my friends, she needed an emergency queen, and I said, "Oh, I don't have any." But then the next day, I caught a swarm, and I called her up. I said, "Well, I got a queen in this swarm. You
Hmm.
can have her if you want her." So I found her, put her in a cage. It looked like a good queen. Gave it to her, and she said it was a great queen. And I took the other bees and just shook them into my other hives.
Yeah.
I just shook them in front of the hives and let them find their way in.
It's not a bad thing to do.
Now,
You are quarantining them for a little bit, though, aren't you?
I've caught 20 swarms every year, and I've never run into in the springtime, I've never run into a sick swarm because hives that are sick coming out of winter don't swarm.
No, but it's still a good idea to quarantine them for a couple weeks just to make sure it's, you never
Yeah.
know.
What are you saying, Bill? So what are you
Anytime
saying again?
you catch a swarm and it's not yours, you should quarantine it for at least 2 weeks to make
I
sure
just
there's nothing
away it.
going on with them.
Well, they don't have comb. So I mean, you
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
put them in and then
you're
vape.
putting them in a box.
Yeah, you
You're
vaporize
hiving
them.
them, but you're quarantining them away from your bees
Yeah.
for a
Uh-huh.
couple weeks.
So,
I just
yeah,
put
I've
in
never run.
yeah.
They won't swarm
Yeah.
if the bees have any issues.
How do you quarantine a colony? You put it in an out yard somewhere. I have a quarantine yard that I put them
I
in.
have an out yard.
Hey, there's Darren. Darren from Pennsylvania's on.
Hey,
Yeah,
Darren.
I put brood in with them. I put a frame of brood from some healthy hive that has extra, and then put them in a box and let them sit for a little while. I don't take anything off my property. I don't walk away
Yeah.
splits. I don't take anything off my property. It all
If you
stays
give
here
them
as
a
long as they
brood
got
frame
brood.
and you give them some comb frames, you'll get honey off of them.
Yeah. or you put brood in there, they're not going anywhere. I don't think I maybe once had a colony, a swarm leave, but that was probably before I got the brood in. Sometimes they leave fast, but once you put brood in there, open brood, cat brood, open brood, all that, they're not gonna leave.
Right. Here, there's a brood break for at least a month, maybe 6 weeks. So any swarms up here in this area don't have mites. It's not a mite issue because all the mites are dead, or a lot of them. And if they did have mites, they're not going to swarm because it'd be too weak of a hive. They won't have drones to swarm. I like those April swarms. Those are the best ones. They're big and they're healthy as can be.
Yeah, most of them are.
You probably have a little bit different down there, Joey, because your season's so long. You don't have a long brood break like I do. I mean, by the middle of December to all the way through January to probably the first week of February, there's no brood in that hive.
Nope.
Oh yeah, I didn't think about that. About
Yeah,
how like Joey down there, he'll have swarms. Like Joey, you have swarms that are, I mean, your nectar flow is so long that
yeah,
you have way more opportunity for swarms, right?
Yeah,
Like,
but like he said, though, your bigger ones usually around March, early March, mid March here. You get those big ones. Then you start getting the after swarms and stuff like that.
right.
hi Darren.
Yeah,
tell Darren, you got to take and subscribe. That way you get notification.
Ha ha. Yeah. Yeah. A healthy ones swarm. You're right. I think so too.
right.
I think so too.
And I love catching swarms at my brother's place because um, two of his neighbors are Amish and they both have hives, one on each side. So I know I'm catching a non-treated swarm in April, early May.
Why? Amish don't use treatments.
They don't treat, nope. So
Yeah,
they have
do. The Amish over here
not
do.
not my place. The newer kids will use oxalic acid vapor and that's it.
Okay.
But the old timers around my area, they don't treat. I talked to them already. They know me. So
Yeah.
they have already done the natural selection of mite resistant queens.
Yeah, they'll say, "Here comes that Tom guy again. Let's hide."
Yeah, yeah, they know I'm catching their swarms.
Oh.
Yep, you're stealing our bees.
Yeah, I'll be going down there about the end of March, putting 3 traps up. And all 3 of them will catch bees at least once.
They get free swarms from Tom.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you got any Amish next to you where you live, check them to see if they treat their bees. If they say no, it's a great place to catch swarms.
Yeah, Matt's got a good question there. I was about to say that some people down here don't know the difference between a swarm and abscon. They say my bees swarmed on me. They all left the hive. Well, that's not a swarm.
That's an
That's-
Afghan.
And he's got
Yeah.
a good question there.
Uh,
I don't know
well,
how
yeah,
you
but I
really
think,
know.
I would say not in the springtime. I
yeah,
mean, because
your scon's
if
going to be in September, October,
Yeah, they
yeah,
where I'm
usually
at.
anything after July or later could be a scon hive swarm.
now down here in late July. It could be hive beetles took them over. They was in too big of an area. They was in a tree or something or a hive somebody didn't tend. It could be an
Right.
Afghan.
Could be a wax
So
moth
that's what I
problem.
say.
Yeah,
They swarm in July, let them fly.
that's what I do. I'd wave at them. I don't even
Well,
think
if they're
about.
July or later swarm,
Yeah,
Yep.
they gonna have to come land in my equipment if they want me to catch them in July.
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, but Joey, you ought to be able to do that easy. You ain't got no winter.
Yeah, you still have to feed them.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do it. If he landed in my equipment, I might do something with her.
I put empty
That's what
boxes
I'm
on
going to
my
do with my,
stand. And I get swarms in them every year.
that's what I'm going to do with my 5 frame equipment because I'm tired of dealing with it. I'm going to set them up. I was picking up a bunch of wooden ladders like the people had out for free for to do lateral gardens, like to do cucumbers and whatnot, to do like a lateral garden type thing. I wasn't going to use the ladders to stand on, just to hold plants. Well, then I didn't quite get around to that. So I was thinking about taking some of these 5 frame boxes I have and some older comb and strapping them to those because I really don't have mature trees on my lot. And then the trees I do have are like 100 years old. So they're real tall. I was thinking about putting some of these 5 frames on top of 6 foot ladder, strapping them down, and then just putting them out along the farmer's field and see what happens. Because that's the way they go. They all head towards the field, and there's no stopping them at that point. But you guys are inspiring me to do that this year.
So what you're saying is you're putting out nukes for swarm trap.
5 frames, Charlie. 5 frames.
Frames.
You're making what?
5
5
frames.
frames. Five
Yeah.
frames. Yeah. And just put
No.
them on top of the ladder
No.
and then see what happens.
Double stack or just single 5 frame?
Yeah, it's just a 5 frame with a migratory cover on it. I mean, well, I got medium 5 frames too. So I guess I could put that on the bottom, right?
Yep. My first swarm trap was a box. Something came in it. I can't remember what it was. It was like a 12 by 12 box. Frames wouldn't fit in it. And it was the first time I'd ever put out a swarm trap. I got a piece of plywood for a lid and I hung it up and put some lemongrass in it. And bees moved in it. And I just had to raise the lid up after they moved in and cut the comb off the lid and put them in a box.
Yeah. Last year on my big
I was hooked.
horizontal hive, I had 3 hives in it, each with 33 frames. And it was brand new, no comb frames in or nothing. And I had a swarm come in that filled up all 3 of those hives. One was a mated queen and 2 of them were virgin queens. And they both got through mating. So it's like, this is perfect. I didn't even have to buy bees or make splits. It was a big swarm. It was a huge swarm. I know where those swarms come from. I have a neighbor that all he does is he has 7 hives, and they're super hives. They're usually anywhere from 7 to 10 boxes high. I mean, they're huge, and he maximizes honey off of them. And he always has one or two that get out of control. And I catch these big swarms off of them that can fill up 3 deeps.
Yeah.
And a couple weeks later, when I go talk to him, I said, "Is one of your hives swarmed?" He goes, "Yeah, I think so. I didn't see it either. I didn't catch it." I don't tell him that I got it.
Sometimes it's hard to tell when a hive swarms. If it's a good, strong colony, they swarm. If you don't see it for a couple of days, you'd never know it. You go back in and see a queen that's supposed to be marked that ain't marked.
Right. That's how he knows it.
Huh.
I get his queen. I get his hives, and they're big hives. I put out 2 double deeps just for him.
Yeah, it
I
took me
filmed
a
one
couple
of them. I got one
years.
of them on my YouTube channel.
It took me a couple years to learn when my hive swarmed because I couldn't tell. Like they were big, and then I was new. I couldn't even tell. Oh, here's Philip. Hold on. Hey, Philip. He's there.
He's in the
Philip.
dark.
I
It's
see him down
dark
below.
room.
Oh
I
no.
don't see-
Maybe you gotta
Maybe
leave,
he's
come
not
back
there.
in. Yeah, I see him in the bottom, but I don't see him then up on in the studio. I mean, Philip, you might have to log out, come back in.
I don't think I have anything else new. Built 2 stands today because I'm redoing
They
the hives a
I thought
little
you were
bit.
supposed to be at work, Tom.
What's that?
I thought you would work. You should be at work.
Well,
Or
I
did
do
you
work my
retire?
8 hours. I
Huh?
go in at 7 so I can get home by 4:30. Then I work till now. It doesn't get dark till 7:30. So, and another 11 or 12 more days, it'll be 8:30, 8 o'clock, 8:30.
Nancy's not at her
Let's see if
desk, and
Philip came back in.
he's probably waiting on you.
Yeah, let's see here. Here he is. There he is.
Hello.
Hey, Philip.
Yeah, he's not in his wood
Well,
shop.
Yeah, I'm being kind of lazy. I'm going to get out there in just a minute. Yeah, I was waiting for a long time to get in, and then I hit the back button to do something, and I thought it kicked me out, but I guess it left me in. So when I tried to come back in, she had let me in, but there was no camera there. So I was still in the back and whatever that was on the screen. I don't know how this
He said,
works.
"Turn the light back off, Philip."
Hey,
Yeah.
Charlie, I only got 6 more weeks. I only
Yeah.
got 6 more weeks of work left, and I got enough vacation that I can take half of it off. So
Right.
I won't be in the office. I think maybe 10 more times next 2 weeks, and that's about it.
So exciting.
Yeah, I'm on my phone. I can't see I can either see the comments or you guys. Let's see.
Yeah, Jeremy says I can double my hive count. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think what I got my little gig. I get my 1,200, 1,500 pounds of honey. I sell my nukes.
Charlie,
Yeah.
can you highlight what James Noel said there?
No,
Oh, you're not at admin no more.
no.
Hmm.
Ooh, 11 out of 12.
11 out of 12.
Terrible.
I saw Brian Newcastle of Castle Hives. He had 13 out of 16 die.
Really? Good grief.
Ooh,
I don't think I've
I
lost.
thought I was down to 30%, and then I came up with two hives that I thought were gone aren't. They're still alive, so I guess I'm
That's good.
25%.
I lost one little late swarm early on, but I hadn't lost anything since. Knock on wood.
My September swarm that I treated and everything, and I fed them. They didn't make. They died here just at the end here. I thought
So,
they were gonna make it.
so I'm going on. I'll have 5 years in July, and I have never yet seen a mite on a bee myself personally. So,
Well, that's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really good.
so Noah and I were out there.
Or he has poor eyesight.
That's probably part of it. So Noah and I were walking. We're working some hives this afternoon. The new yard we just put in over the weekend, and he's got the cover up, and he says, "Is that mite on that bee?" And I looked at it, and I was like, "Son of a gun, it sure is. It was right there on its thorax. It wasn't crawling around; it was hanging on tight. Tried to scrape it off, but the bee flew away." But
Last year, I saw one on the front of the deep box, brood box, on the outside. It was still alive. I should have filmed it, but I had my phone with me, but I instantly just smashed it.
I've found a lot of them alive on my after I treat. They'll be crawling around on the counting board. I've seen several of those, but I've never seen one on a bee until today. I didn't like seeing it, but I saw it.
Right.
I've never seen deformed wing virus either.
I've never had that. I've never seen that.
I have seen chronic bee paralysis. Those shiny, they look kind of wet and shiny, and they stumble
They
around.
buzz around and make a lot of noise.
Well, the ones I've seen wouldn't. They don't run from smoke. If you smoke them, all the rest of them will dive down, but they just like stumble around.
Yeah, mine are real loud and boisterous, buzzy.
Well, what's the one that's called? Is it shiny black bee virus or something like that?
That's the chronic bee paralysis. That's the one.
Bold bee. They call it a couple different things.
They call them zombie bees. They're kind of hairless. Well, that's the reason they're all black and shiny.
Yeah.
Philip Dennis asking, how do you treat?
Well, I just use OAV. That's all I've ever done. And on the ones I can get to around, here at my house, I count the mites after 24 hours and just keep treating them until I get a real low drop. But the ones out in the country, I just treat when I can. I traded twice over the winter when they were close to broodless.
I think that is the key with OA.
I'll tell you what, I think I messed up.
With your hive surviving. I think that people say, well, it's winter and we're all done. Well, no, you're not.
Yeah, that's a good time to use. That's a good time to use it. I agree, Charlie.
It's a good time to hit it, but I mean, what I'm getting at is the mindset of the beekeeper that everybody's put away for the winter. Well, you really need to continue on with your mite treatments throughout the winter if you can, as long as it's got the right temperature.
If I get a little annoyed by people who say, well, it didn't kill below the cappings. Well, it does. It doesn't. And I'm not sure if any of it kills below the cappings. Some of it persists long enough for the mites to come out, and it kills them then. But
Yeah, some of them are like that.
OAV.
I even think Formic Pro's that way. I don't think it kills many underneath the cappings.
I'm not certain.
14
Formic
days.
Pro, yeah, I'm not sure Formic Pro doesn't in the first 3 days kill the brood that's not capped. It's so strong and causes a brood break. To some degree, but I don't know. I've never used it. I probably shouldn't even say that about it. But if you're willing to go in every 3 or 4 days and do OAV, you can kill pretty much every mite that's in there.
Yeah.
If you're willing to do that. And some people are. If you only have a few hives, why not do that?
That's what I say.
Right. That's what I think too. Every 3 days for a 21-day cycle, and you'll get them all. Philip, I think this is for you. What time of year do you treat?
I do in December, usually between Christmas and New Year's, I try to treat at least once, if not twice. And if it goes into first week of January, that's fine to get that second one in. And then I treat it just depends.
Well, you're not going to be able to get it done the first week of January because you're always at Nobby.
In August and September, I think I was treating right before I went to Nobby this year, but that would have been, right at the end of the year. But I treat in the fall too. It's usually August or September, but then I try to do successive treatment. Well, I will tell you that I had 12 colonies that I could count the mite drop on here at my house, and I treated all of them and 3 times. And after 3 times, the drop was low enough on half of them that I didn't have to treat again. So I treated a 4th time, and I got half of what was left. And I treated a 5th time, and I got half of what was left. And it took me on one of those colonies, I had to treat it like 3 extra times. I had to treat it 10 times. We had a huge mite drop the first time. But most of the time, each time after 3 that I treat, half the colonies that I treat are fine, and half I need to treat again. And I think at about 5 treatments, you're down to 1 or 2 colonies at the most if you're dealing with 10 to 15 colonies.
How many grams you treating with?
As many as, well, back then I was treating on a wand. So when it stopped pouring off the edge of the wand, I stopped putting it on there, whatever that is. As much as you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
As much as it'll hold.
that's right.
2 grams per box, just like the label
About
says.
6 grams, I'd say. If you
It
load up,
doesn't say how many times you can treat them. I've already followed the rules and just treated them back to back.
I think the little cups that I use only holds 3 grams, but I weighed them and it was like 5 grams. But it only held 3 of those little scoops that came with it. But
Whoop.
it's I believe in putting as much in there as whatever your machine will hold.
I like the way some of these guys are doing now. They got two vaporizers. They putting them both in there in one hive at a time, knocking them out.
that's
I got
rich.
no problem with that. I don't know that that's needed. I mean, I think if you fill that cavity up with that gas, you got it covered.
Right.
Whether that's 2 grams or 10 grams.
Well,
Kind of on how leaky your box is too, you know.
Yeah.
I know one friend of mine, he got a new vaporizer, and the guy said that he is in the Carolinas, I guess, and he would hit them every month, either once or twice a month throughout the whole year. And he says he's had good luck with that. So
I listened to a lady
It's
that
got to
did
be
that.
better than nothing.
I listened to a lady that did that. She said it just kind of kept them at a manageable level.
you know, a friend of mine, she'll have a pissy hive, and she said, I'll vaporize them.
Huh.
And she still uses wands. And
Right.
I'm like, why are you, but anyway, that's her way of doing it.
how many she got. I mean, if you have, in my opinion, if I only had 10 hives, I'd probably still be using wands because I was using 3 wands and I
think she's got about 10 hives.
was using 3 wands and I had a
Wow.
timer on them, so I could just hopscotch from one to the other. And I got it down to like 4 minutes or less per hive. So
Well,
it was less than an
she's
hour.
doing
We must
about
have had
2
a good
grams.
one.
She was doing 2 grams per hive, and she, and that's how she treats. And then she also treats them when they get a little mean, and he says it calms them right down. So I think they must be getting bit by the darn mites. It makes them feisty.
Hey, Joey, my one took 2.5 minutes to basically burn all the oxalic off of it, or at least to heat up enough to where it was burning it good. And then I'd leave it in there because what I would do is I'd put one in and set the timer at about 2.5 minutes. And then I'd get another one ready. And when the timer went off, I'd move it to the second one and start that one. And then I would go, when I started the third one, I would go back to the first one and pull it out. So that was about 5 or 6 minutes that it was in there closed up. But because I was doing 3, my total time, if I divided it at the end of the treatments, was right around 4 minutes per colony. Even though I was running about 2.5 to 3 minutes, is how long the wand was on.
So Jeremy has a comment here. 2 grams a box and 8 frames, treat every 5 days, 4 times, and then it wipes it out. Well, the mites run around for about 3 days. So 5 days might be too much of a stretch.
I heard
They could come
4.5
out.
days, Nancy.
Hmm?
Where'd you get that information? I heard 4.5 days is the shortest.
I got it from Ed. He's a VHS breeder. He's breeding for mite resistant stock, and he does 3 days. He says 3 days.
But see, using that logic though is putting every mite on the same schedule.
Well, right, but you're shortening.
Some mites
I
going
would
in
rather.
this morning, some getting capped up that night, some getting capped up the next morning, some getting capped the next night.
Right. So every 3 days for a 21 day period, you're going to get them. But 5 days might be just too long.
I do 4.
You get mites run. I'd rather tighten it and be on the shorter end of the stick.
I try to do 4 days, but sometimes it's 5. But I heard 4.5 days up to 15 days. 4.5 up to 15 is what I heard that they stay outside to get, and they have to have that time period to feed on an adult bee to get the energy to be able to reproduce.
Yeah.
The
So
environment
I
in the
heard
hive
3
has to be
days.
just right too.
And 3 days is how long the vapor supplements in the hive, isn't it? 3 days. After 3 days, it's done anyway.
I think it lasts a day at the most.
Yeah.
You'll still see mites dropping after 3 days. There won't be near as many, but I think it's just the mites are still kind of hanging on to, they're dying, but they've already been affected. I don't think it's killing them. I think it's just taking them that long to die and fall out. That's just my opinion. I've counted after 24 hours, and you generally get about 3/4 or so of the mites, and then you'll get 90% after 2 days, and you might get that last 10%.
I count 24 and 48 hours. That's it. And then I turn around and treat again. So that gives me 1 day. If I treat everybody, pull the whiteboards out in 24 hours, look to see who's crazy loaded, and then 48 hours, and then treat again on the 3rd day. Go back around with treatments again.
I like to go back.
But I treat all year. I mean, I'm always fighting mites. There's never a time period and it's multiple. I don't even know how many treatments I do. I do them until they're done.
I want to do some extended release. I need to get going on that. Something I've been wanting to do.
What is it?
I want to do extended release in the spring.
Oh yeah, I do Formic.
No, the
Is that what
pad.
you're talking about?
No, oxalic.
Oh, right.
Oxalic and glycerin. The
Yeah.
kind of Randy Oliver method, more or less.
Yeah. Oh, hey, Bob. I see Bob's
Oh.
on.
I had a question for Bob. I guess I should have called him. I got some of these
Well, he's
bullets I
just
bought a couple of years ago. You think they still good?
Was it Joey?
The bullets, when I bought my Swarm Rustler from Bob a
Oh,
couple of years ago,
vials.
I got two bullets, and I never did use them. But I'm wondering if they're still good.
No, I got a bottle that's 2 years old, and
Well,
it's still good. I still use it.
well, I know the bottle's good.
Can you smell
Yeah,
it?
I still see the liquid in there. I've got a
Does it break down?
I've got a Swarm
Doesn't break-
trap that's several miles away. I'm going to put one of them in it because I don't get to go every 2 weeks. Yeah, I can see it. It's full.
Bob gave you a green smiley face or monster face, so I'm not sure what that means. Oh,
You
now
just
the
lost
Philip's
Phil.
gone again.
Where'd he
He
go?
went out to the barn probably. He said he was going out there in a little bit.
Oh, Philip, yeah.
Yeah, I'm about ready to head out.
I wasn't even going to hop on till you forced me on
Oops.
because I was late.
Oh,
All of a sudden, I looked at. I thought it was getting dark outside, and I go, "Oh, it's already after 6:30."
Philip's just trying to be like Ian. That's all it is.
oh.
In and out.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
Oh, you know what I want, Phil? You know what I want something to get my hands on this year is QMP. The sticks. There's Philip. Let's see if
oh yeah.
You kicked
the
me out.
QMP. There he is.
I accidentally turned my camera off trying to do something, and then you kicked me out when it went away. I could hear you guys the whole time.
Nancy, I use the QMPs a lot.
Queen pheromone.
And
Yeah.
what I like about them, they last 2 weeks. And if you only use them for a week, like I do, 6 days, I put them back in the freezer and I can use them again. So, and I cut them in half. You don't even
picking
need
on
a full
Philip.
stick.
Oh.
I cut them in half and use a half a stick.
How many of them you want, Nancy?
Whatever they come in a pack, just one pack. I looked down at the
Yeah.
expo
2
2
or
years
3.
ago. I looked, nobody had it. I looked this year. I didn't look as much this year, but nobody had it 2 years ago. And then now there's Philip again. What's he doing? He's jumping in and out. Philip, settle down.
There's 2 to a pack.
Well, don't let them back in.
Well, hold
Bill,
on.
Well,
where's the best
I gotta
place to
let my
put
poor guy
those
stay out in the
things when
cold.
you're using it?
You don't make friends that
What?
way.
I put them right in the center of the brood where the queen would be.
Yeah.
Okay.
They come with a tie wrap. So you wrap the tie wrap around it, then you stick it down the frame, and I just bend the tip over and tape it down to the top of the frame.
So if you got double deeps, you want to put it in between those 2 boxes.
Yep.
You pull that queen.
Yes.
Because I know I caged a queen one time. I caged her right in the top. 7 days later, it was full of queen cells.
Yeah. I put it right where the brood is. And I
Now-
use it
now-
when I create my swarm builder. I'll go ahead and create it, and I'll put one of those QMPs in there. Then I don't even have to worry about checking for cells because they won't make any cells. And then 6 days later, I take the QMP back out, and they can't make any cells. They're
You
Right.
sell
done.
them,
Hopelessly.
Bill?
Yeah, I do.
Yep.
I've got 10 of them in stock right now.
So Tom, I've never handled the stuff. So you're saying that it's just a solid stick. It's not a gooey. It's not
No.
something
No.
that's gooey.
It's not gooey at all. It's just an off-white little stick about 1.5 inches long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seen
And
them,
only-
I've had them where they were green looking. They look like a piece of plastic.
They look
Yeah.
like a little plastic tube. Yeah.
Tube,
Solid.
yeah. Solid tube.
Yeah. Solid tube that's only as big as a little bit bigger than a toothpick. A little bit wide.
Yep.
I mean, just a little stick. But they
Well, I
work.
saw Fred Dunn. Fred Dunn will tie it to a thing, like tie it to a stick, a tree, or something, and then any bees that are kind of cruising around will go. If he needs extra bees for whatever reason, he has them. Now, I'm not
Yeah.
going to use. I'm not going to use it that way. I'm gonna. There's certain times when I think, oh man, I wish I had some of that, and so I just want to get. I mean, I guess 1 or 2 pack depends, 1 or 2 packs, I guess. I mean, there's
Hmm.
2 sticks in each pack, right?
Yep. Yep.
So yeah. So give me two packs, total of 4 sticks, because then that gets me to lose 1 and then I still have 2. So
Yeah, you
Who's gonna
can
build-
take a frame and put your tube on your little half stick on that frame. You come back later on that day, and that whole frame will be full of bees.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
It's amazing.
So
Cool. Yeah. Yeah, what's
But
up?
if I need a little hive that I need, one of my queen rearing hives needs a little bees, I'll do exactly that, and I'll throw the bees in there.
Yeah, or if instead of, so I'm not a real component of shaking bees. My bee inspector told me a long time ago that when you shake bees, you want to just do it once, maybe twice, because that's really a lot of how they transfer viruses is when they're shook up, they'll regurgitate their stomachs, whether it be their actual stomach or whether it be their honey crop, their nectar crop.
Be
And
right
then
back.
that can help spread disease. So I don't really like to shake them. Now I do, but I think that using that QMP would get around some of that. If you like, catch a small swarm or a late swarm, and um, you can get them. You can move bees around with that stuff. Now I never have. I don't have it, but have that in your arsenal, in your toolbox.
Yeah, I really like to use it when I'm grafting. When I make that cell builder, I don't have to shake those bees and look for cells
That's
because they
Yeah.
didn't make any cells.
very true.
What is that called?
It's called a
QMP.
QMP stick. I don't know what it
Queen
stands for.
mandibular
Queen.
pheromone.
Yeah.
Mandibular pheromone. QMP.
All right, Bill. What do you have it under?
Yeah, I don't list it on the website.
Oh, okay.
If you want it, shoot me an email and I'll shoot you an invoice and you can pay it and I'll ship it.
Okay.
Yeah, and the best part, you can just freeze them and they'll last forever.
Yep, they
So
will.
once I use them for 6 days, and I'll cut it in half, so I get 4 weeks per stick. I get 2 weeks.
2 weeks per half
Stick.
stick. Yeah.
And for a 5-frame nuke, that's all you need is a half stick.
Yep.
Well, see, I usually have I've got 2 classes to do now with my observation hive, and I usually got one small enough to put in that thing. But if I don't, I would need something like that where I could pull the queen and a couple of frames out and put something like that in the hive. That'd be good to have.
Mhm.
I've got 2
Right.
classes I got to do now, so I may need to get some of that on hand. Philip done left again.
And you know the other thing you can use them for, Tom, is put them in a swarm trap.
Yeah. Yeah.
They'll actually lure bees.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't done that. I just use Swarm Wrestler or whatever I have.
Charlie, you can go. You
Yeah,
can go, Charlie.
we'll catch you later.
See you Friday night, Charlie.
All right.
Yeah. See you Friday.
Oh, he said he's got to go to work on frames. Philip did.
Oh, Philip, yeah. Poor Charlie
Yeah.
was falling asleep. Good night, popcorn.
Huh.
I think he fell asleep on us. He might not have kicked that. He was not feeling good. He might still have a little bit of that hanging on.
Right.
Our captain.
Well, I know my
Time is
knees
it? Oh, it is
bother me a
9.
little bit. Oh, shoot.
Yeah, it is 9. Well, for us up here. I guess some
East
is it's
time.
only 8 o'clock.
Right.
Some of the country it's earlier than that.
Yeah. 9, 8, or 7, or 6.
Yeah.
I don't get the western side of the country. The western side of the nation doesn't sign on. So
Well, when Todd hops on, he's out there very west.
Yeah.
he's come on my chat on Wednesday nights.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah.
My knee's stiff right now. I've been on it too much the last couple days working bees.
Yeah. Yours get stiff now. Yeah. You have that to look forward to.
Yeah.
Hey,
Well,
Danae,
they
where
told
are
me I'd
you?
push it. They told me around 5 or 6 months I'd push it too hard and it would swell up a little bit. And then you take it
Yeah.
easy, swells up a little bit. So about the eighth month.
Yep.
So I'm in that phase.
So are you feeling the cold weather in it?
Central
I don't
Wyoming.
think so.
Okay.
I do
Okay,
know
you're
it feels
representing the
better in the
western
morning
side
than
there.
it does during the evening. It always aches more the time I use it all day long.
Yeah.
Who was that talking about the bourbon barrel the other night? They wanted to get one or something.
I've got a deal
Possibly.
with the local whiskey distillery, and
Yep.
I'll be getting bourbon barrels from them. And when I give it back, they want me to put honey in it, and then they're going to use the honey to make honey bourbon.
Yeah. I didn't think they ever reused them at all.
Oh yeah, they reuse them here.
Well, why did they get rid of them?
Mm-hmm.
If the stave is leaking, or if the stave is bad, or they got a loose band on them, or something like
Okay.
that, they get rid of them.
There was
Well,
somebody on the
bourbon,
chat was wanting to know something. They I can't remember what it was now. But it reminded me. I was going to tell them, and I can't remember who it was. But if they wanted to do something with it afterwards, but it didn't have anything to do with honey or bourbon, you could go watch Jeff Barron's YouTube videos.
Yeah.
His daughter, Hannah Barron, she's got her own YouTube channel. They do a lot of wildlife stuff and that noodling and everything. Well, Jeff's a carpenter by trade, and Hannah had bought 2 of those whiskey barrels. They made a garbage can holder, put a big garbage can in one of them, put the lid back on there. But the other one, he cut it in half, straight down, kind of in half, and he put like cabinet shelves in that thing.
Oh,
And she
cute.
had it inside her house. That was pretty.
Yeah.
I wish I was gifted like that, man. I'd be building stuff
Joey,
like that.
down in Kentucky with bourbon, they only use those barrels once. It's part of the bourbon way. And it
That's
has to
what
be
I
white
thought.
oak and it has to be charcoaled inside, burnt, fired inside.
Yeah.
And they use it one time and then they get rid of them.
Yep.
And I don't know why, for real. I really don't know why they do that. I mean, it seemed like you could kind of maybe resand that down and reburn it again and do the same thing over.
That's a lot
Not
of
a
work.
bourbon then. It's not a bourbon then because you changed the process.
Yeah.
Maybe not. I don't know.
I don't know.
Well,
I don't
these
know
had
much about them.
the barrel guy that I went to. He deals in used barrels. It's a big
You know
warehouse
what?
full of barrels, hundreds and hundreds of barrels. And his had
Joey,
either
that would
mar-
be that would be dangerous reburning a barrel because when they drain that, there's still 20 to 40 gallon. There's still a lot of whiskey in that wood in the
Yeah, there
barrel.
is.
So if you would like that baby,
And whiskey
that'd be
is
a good
flammable.
YouTube.
Whiskey's flammable.
Yeah.
And if you made a video out of doing it, I could tag you as a Darwin Award nominee.
Hey.
I did think of that, but I couldn't verbalize it quick enough. But so his had markings on it and it said bourbon, and then you'd see someone that used it for maple syrup.
Yeah.
And then, so they have markings. So when you in the trade, in the business, there's certain markings. So there was one there that had bourbon in it. So, but I don't need to go get it now till July. When I extract, I'm gonna put the darker honey
Yeah.
in it.
But
And then by October, when my market really rears up here,
I'm going to
honey
talk to my
season for
brother-in-law. I got a brother-in-law that's got a little distillery. He's kind of like a hobbyist, and he makes his own whiskey, bourbon, whatever, in that little barrel, and lets it
Yeah.
cure in there. I could borrow
There you
his
go.
barrel from him, do some honey in it, and then
And give it back to him. Yep.
Sell him all that
Yeah.
honey.
There you go.
When I was a kid, I went down to Buffalo Trace one time and I told him, I said, hey, I need one of your barrels right off your line. And he goes, what are you going to do? I said, I'm putting beer in it, a black lager beer in it, making a bourbon beer. And he said, well, I'll leave 4 or 5 gallons in there for you. And he did.
Huh.
So he pulled it right off the line. He said, here it is. I think it was $80 at the time for the barrel.
I think the
Yeah,
barrel
I think
he
this
used,
guy
that's
wants
why I
100.
said I'm going to use my brother-in-law, because I think his barrel is like 5 gallons. I wouldn't want to
Yeah.
make a whole bunch of it. So he's got like a 5 or 10 gallon barrel.
Yep.
You can
15.
buy the
So
smaller
the
mini
smallest
barrels.
the smallest that my guy had was 15, and you only want to put in Melissa and Tom talked about this. You only want to put in so say it's a 15-gallon barrel, you'd only want to put 7 or 8 gallons in because
Yeah.
you need to roll it and have that wood
Yep.
contact. I don't there's
Right.
terms for all that. I don't know what they are, but and then wet towels. The guy was telling me to put wet towels over it. So
Around it.
honey
To keep
will
it,
Yeah.
pull the moisture out of the barrel.
Yep.
well, to keep the wood swelled, because if the wood
Yeah.
dries, it will start leaking.
Is there anything for me?
And honey pulls the moisture out of the wood.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm still on. My husband just came back home. We're still on.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Chat's kind of slowed down a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm down to yeah, I think people are I'm down to 23. We were up in the high 30s there for a little while.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't
There's
know
a-
if stream team was
They
on or
they
not.
got the Randy Oliver
Randy Oliver's over
um,
there.
the taping of Randy
Ah.
Oliver
Yeah.
today.
Oh yeah.
I'll
I've
probably
listened
watch
to him.
the rerun.
He
I'm
says the
about tired
same
of
thing. He pretty much
yeah, I'm
says the
about
same
tired of
thing every time.
hearing about it and talking about it. It's sometimes there'll be some official paper that comes out. We'll get to read it, but
Or not.
or not.
Yeah.
I know what my losses are. I mean,
Yeah.
I want them to figure out. I want them to figure out why. I need to figure out, or somebody needs to tell me why my bees didn't take stores, why they didn't store all the feed that I fed them. Like I fed them as much as they would take, and they didn't store it. They just consumed it. Why didn't they store it? I went thick. I start thin 1-to-1. I get them so they're not hungry anymore. Then I thicken it up, thicken it up, thicken it up. They didn't. They stored very little of it.
Had
It's
that issue
drought.
this year, Nancy, because of the drought.
Yeah,
They, they, but
I
I think
guess
that was
it's just
weather related. I do know some queens bees hives store more honey than other ones do.
yeah. Well,
Genetics.
Mark told me, and then my bee breeder guy Ed, that's taught me a lot about beekeeping over the years. They to let the ones in spring go. The ones that die out because they didn't store feed, let them go. So my losses this year, coincidentally with the losses that's all people are talking about, because I'm almost about 100%. Because I baby them so much. But
Right.
for me to lose 30%, it's because I kind of planned to let some of that weaker stock go and then kind of narrow down instead of just keeping everything alive. I want to narrow it down to get a better quality genetic in there.
Right. Right.
So
Bill, I
my
sent you my
losses.
email in the private chat.
Okay.
If you will, just send me the cost on the
Yes.
pack of those things,
All right.
the Queen, and ever how you want the money. And we'll work
When
it
you
out.
get the email, it'll have an invoice in it,
Okay.
and just copy that invoice. You just click on that invoice, and you can pay it right there.
All right.
All right.
Oh, cool.
I think I need a pack of those things. Might come in handy one day.
Yeah, you never know. They might.
There's something else I needed too, Bill, and I thought about it the other day, and if I can't remember what it is. So when I remember, it was Monday when I was down with the hives. So I'll remember again, but I'll put that together because I don't want you to ship. I want you to, I don't want you to ship just one little thing. And I have something else I needed, and I can't think off the top what it was now.
Wow. I don't think I have anything else new.
I'm gonna put you my number in there too, Bill.
Yeah. And then eventually you have to send me your address too. Don't do that now though.
That's all right.
Unless you want to put the coffee on.
Huh.
I'll be there in
Yeah.
13 and a half hours. Or something like that. 17 hours.
And I don't answer my phone if I don't recognize the number. In case you call me, you have to leave a message or a text.
All right.
I'm that way, Joey.
I get so
I
much
do.
spam, man. It's crazy.
I answer sometimes. Once in a while, I block the spams, but I answer once in a while and really freak people out when it's a real person, like calling about honey or bees or something, and then I
Yeah.
answer. They stammer around a little bit because they're not used to people answering anymore.
Let me tell you what happened one time. You know, I own a small mini storage business. It's supposed to be
Oh,
three
okay.
times bigger than what it is, but things happened and I wasn't able to grow it. But I own a small one. And I had started getting, I guess I should have started with what I'm telling you. I'd started getting so many spam calls that I got this robocall or something app. I downloaded it, robocall. And what it
Hmm.
does when they call you, you can set up different answers. You can set up a Donald Trump. You can set up Bugs Bunny. You can set up anybody you want to answer it and just start talking, and they'll think they're talking to a real person. And then that recording starts asking other questions and it just gets them so confused. And anyway, I had that set up and I got a call and my phone said that it was spam. So I didn't answer it. Robocall got it. And it always leaves you anytime somebody talks to it, it records it and sends it to you. And I was
Hmm.
listening and it said hello. And this lady uh, asked if it was me. And then the robocall said, "Who is this?" And she said, "This is so and so. I was calling. How did you get my number?" And she said, "Well, I got it off. I got it off Google. I was checking. You shouldn't be able to get my number and call me like that." And I listened to that. I said, "Oh my goodness, that was a customer trying
Oh,
to call me." She took it well, though. I called her back and explained what happened, and she got a kick out of it.
no good.
My phone number is in the private chat, Joey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I'm gonna call it,
All right.
Okay.
guys
Sounds
and
good as I
gals.
do a big yawn. Ooh.
Yeah.
Let me write this number down. I
It's
don't know if it's going to stay in the private or not.
um.
Well, Bill
Well,
can stay on.
here. This is.
Yeah, it's on his website too, I believe.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got it.
That's how I looked it up one time.
I got you.
Yeah, it sounds like everybody
So let's see who's next. So
saying good
Friday night's
night.
Charlie. Friday night's Charlie. Saturday
And
night's Joey.
yeah. Monday
Sunday
night is
night's
me.
Got a horizontal hives Thursday.
Yeah.
Oh, yep. That's right. Tomorrow. It's horizontal, Ricky.
I don't get to do theirs a lot because I go to so many meetings on Thursdays. I miss theirs.
Yeah, I end up I kind of get my chores done and go to bed early on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then
Yeah.
Saturdays, Joey, you're always so your stage is so full. You don't yeah, I'm already been on twice, so I know that's just a listen. I can get to
It don't
bed
matter.
early on Saturday.
It don't matter. Mine hold 10 people.
It's crowded. It's crowded.
I had 10 people in there the other night. Somebody else tried to come in.
Did you? Yeah, what night? Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's right, Jerry. I was a little late and I was going to get on it. And you already had a whole crowd. I said, forget it.
I've been wondering if I need to start a little bit later because the West Coast guys don't get to come in till later anyway.
Yeah, you had Ian on there.
But then
You
you
had
got
James
people
the
like
other day.
Randy. Yeah. You got people like Randy Tar Heel. He comes in early, but he has to leave early too, so
Right.
I guess starting at 7 my time, Central Time, everybody gets a little chance to kind of hang in.
Yeah, that's late for us. Well, that's
Yeah.
why I start at 6:30, just because it's 8 o'clock is too late to stay pretty for pictures, But your hair is always done, Joey.
My hair's
Your
always
hair's
done.
yeah.
All right,
Hardly
I got to
just
duck out. I'm getting
have
ready to get a
it.
phone call.
Hmm.
Y'all have
All
a
right,
good
Good
night.
night,
All right,
Bill.
see you, Bill.
All right.
We're gonna
Good
shut
night,
down
everybody.
here. We're gonna bid everyone farewell. So thanks for showing up, guys.
Yep.
We'll
Good
see you
night,
soon.
everyone.
Good night.
I'm always saying, God bless everybody.
I think you're out.